Hi there. So today I wanted to just do a short video about giving you something relatively simple to learn that you can apply some of the principles we've practiced before um, to make some actual music. Because I think if you are only practicing in isolation and never actually exploring the instrument and how these concepts can translate into creating music, it can be hard to stay motivated. So that's the goal and the intention for this video. And I'm going to use a really simple song, but it's very beautiful. And it's called Say Something. And we're going to listen to it and figure out what the piano's doing. And then I'll demonstrate how to play it. So let's just get a sense of what's going on in this tune here. Very nice, beautiful, pretty piano part. We haven't even talked about the sustain pedal yet. That's probably something really that we should address now. The first note is a D. Remember, these are the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So it's D, and we can later once we figure out all the chords, we'll be able to figure out what key it's in. So it starts just with this single note, and I'm now going to push down the sustain pedal. So if you have an acoustic piano, it'll have a sustain pedal, and if you have a digital piano or a keyboard, it should have a sustain pedal plugged in. And the pedal allows notes to continue ringing past when you take your finger off. Without it, as soon as I remove my finger, it stops. But if I push down the sustain pedal, then it keeps ringing. And any note that I play will also continue ringing. So it's really important. I don't really know how to teach how to use this other than in general, you lift your foot and put it back down when the chord changes, especially in this style of music. So let's go back to the beginning and just listen again. Okay, the very first chord is a B minor. And then, so that is in my left hand, I'm playing a B and an F sharp, and I'm playing the D in my right hand and another B. So if you actually got through the all the different keys, this is a chord that comes up in the D major scale. It comes up in other scales too. And the notes of this chord are B, D, F sharp. And then if you wanted to add the seventh, it would be A. And actually, if you kind of look at it from one perspective, what if we removed that B, and now we actually have a D major triad with B on the bottom. So sometimes this is a helpful way to think about different chords, and we'll get into that because it's nice to break it down into the concept of a simple triad over a different root than you would normally think. So D major over B creates B minor 7. But in this case, there is no A, there's no seventh, so it's just these notes, just the straight B minor chord. And so if I push down the sustain pedal and I play those notes and let them ring, it sounds pretty nice. Okay, that's the first chord. What's the next one? Okay, it's a G. And in the left hand, in this style of music, you're almost always pretty safe playing the root in your left hand and the fifth. And so once again, if you're jumping ahead and you haven't, for instance, spent time on the arpeggios and this is all new to you, it's important to understand how chords are constructed with a root, a third, a fifth, and a seventh. In this case, a major 7. So that you begin to become familiar with what note is the fifth on G. And if you're really in doubt, if you know the key signature, meaning you know which notes are supposed to be sharp or flat. In other words, which black notes do I incorporate into the scale? Then you can just count. If you're really stuck, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go to the 5th note, starting from whatever root you're on. So that's the 2nd chord, a G. So what we have now is something like that. And now to the root, which is D. And then I heard that in there, which is the 3rd of D. Now look again, it's just, if you look at the notes, we've got D twice, we've got the 5th, which is A, and then F sharp, which is the 3rd. And again, that's just a D major triad with the notes in different places. This A is being played down there, and this F sharp is playing down there, and then we're just playing the root again in our left hand. So now we have okay, now what's next? An A, and I heard this semitone, and probably playing the A again. So that's an A, just an A major, right? If you look at the notes, but we're keeping the D on top just for some color and some interest. And the theory behind this is something that you can, if you understand it a little bit, you can replicate this sound, because it's a beautiful sound. It creates some tension, it creates emotion, and it happens mainly in this genre on the 5 chord of the song, of the key of the song. So we're in the key of D, so that would be the 1 chord. If I go back to what I taught in lesson 1, D major 7, that's 2 chord is E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, G major 7, and then the 5th chord is A dominant 7. But in this case, we're not playing that 7, and we're adding an extra note, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a sound you may have heard. It's the idea of called a suspended 4th. And it wants to resolve here. It's pulling you down there. So what songwriters and artists and whoever like to do is kind of have both of those notes, and it creates this floating quality. So it's not so obvious. Like, this can sound a little bit too obvious at times, especially if you had the 7th in there. It wants to do that or resolve somewhere else, but in this case we play both of those notes, and it just creates this beautiful color. So that's really nice. Okay, so let's review. So we've got then just playing each chord twice, and I'm not actually playing anything in my left hand other than I'm playing it on the very first note of the bar. So if we think of this structured as groups of 4, it's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could think about it that way. And then what else does it do?
Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'll be the one if you...
It's the same chord progression, but now I notice that the time signature should be thought of as actually groups of 6, because it's the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hear that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's think about it in groups of 6. This would be now a time signature of 6/8, which we can get into, but you should try to simply feel the pattern, feel the rhythm, and you're hearing. Dun, dun, dun. Underlying that, you're feeling that pattern of 6.
If you want me to.
Okay, so it does this, and I think it goes to a different part.
Anywhere I would have followed you. Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Now it goes, changes here. What does it do?
And I am feeling so small.
Okay, this is great. The second chord is the 3 chord. It's an F sharp minor 7, or minor. These 3 notes, F sharp, A, C sharp. So it goes just to the D again. That's the... That's an F sharp minor 7, but I still hear this D on top, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go back a bit more. You hear it in there?
It was over my head. I know nothing at all. And
Okay, so it feels like this next section is going to have a D chord, the same one we already know. Then it's going to go to the F sharp minor chord, so F sharp and C in the C sharp in the left hand, A, C sharp, and then that D. Now look, you go, hey, wait a minute. It's the same thing I did in the right hand over the A. We're just substituting a different root, and that's cool. Now, we reuse the same shape in the right hand, so... Is that still pulsing there, or does it stop? Does it just hold?
And I...
Yeah, it's still pulsing.
Will stumble and fall.
It's gonna go to the G here.
I'm still learning to love.
We know that one already from the first part.
Just starting
back
to
to the D,
fall.
and then to the A. Sorry. And then it's gonna go back to the say something. So that's pretty much, I'm assuming that's the whole song. I literally did not relearn this before, but I knew it was the kind of song that was pretty simple. So let's just go back and... So the intro is kind of, if you want to think about it again in 6/8, or however you think about it, you're going to play this note D 4 times. And then you're going to do a little... So the D is always kind of keeping going, and everything else doesn't play. So even the other notes in your right hand, this is now I'm feeling like it's a little trickier than maybe, but the sustain pedal is your best friend here. Play all these and then only just worry about, whoops. The sustain pedal is just doing all the work for you. And then it gives you time to move your hand. So let's just play along with it and kind of see where we go from here.
Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'll be the one if you want me to. Anywhere I would have followed you. Say something, I'm giving
think we're playing all the notes
It was over my head.
instead of just only the D.
I know nothing at all. And I will stumble and fall. I'm still learning to love, just starting to crawl. Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you. Anywhere I would have followed you. Say something, I'm giving up on you. And I will swallow my pride. You're the one that I love, and I'm saying goodbye.
Okay, so now then it builds a bit. And we could get into that, but I think in general there's some arrangement things like in the first verse we were just hearing only the D pulsing, or whether you call that a chorus or verse when they say go at the say something part. At first you only hear the D pulsing, not the other chords, and then it goes into the second section, right? And then when it goes back to that say something part, the second time around it's a bit bigger, and then what I think I was hearing is that now we are playing more of the chords. Instead of just the D, we're pulsing the entire chord in our right hand. So there you go. It's a pretty simple song, fun to play along with. Even for me, it's beautiful. And it's just the same kind of shapes repeating themselves in different ways. And so hopefully this is a little bit of motivation. I'll try and do more of these as we go through different concepts so that, that your whole world is not just simply the practicing of technique, but that you can now have some things that sound musical. And over time, we're going to build some skills that enable us to make our own music and maybe even expand on a song like this. For instance, taking just a chord progression of B minor, G, D, A, and exploring different ways to play that on the piano. These voicings from this song are one way to approach it, but there's many different ways, different color notes you can put in. Stuff like that, just expanding it, adding different color tones, and there's very simple concepts that I can teach you for how to learn how to do more with a progression like that. So hopefully this was helpful, and good luck practicing.